Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 10 of the anime series, Snow White with the Red Hair. And I absolutely, just thoroughly loved this episode. As an animal lover in life and the, concepts of like the preservation of this whole, basically culture of blue and green parrot-like birds that fishermen and people of this local island offshoot of Clerdinus, the kingdom and everything. They've learned to communicate with these birds and pinpoint schools of fish under the water through their laser-like hearing and everything, as well as minerals that, the people of this island use and utilize. And just that whole communicative thing, it was just astounding to me and beautiful to me. As soon as we meet, Kihal Togirl, this girl from this island who has come to effectively Wistal, Castle to try to persuade Zen of the importance of these birds, because now their lord and master, this guy Brecker, more like Ball Breaker, is trying to make them game and trying to, hunt them whenever they have visiting dignitaries and such like that, make a game out of it, and not really seeing the importance of these birds and how important they are to the culture. This is the way it's been since, as Kihal puts it, her great-grandfather's time. And it speaks to the grander design of the real world aesthetic where, it's so much taken for granted, the intellect in animals and the, feelings and emotions that they might go through. And they're just smarts. If I may be permitted a brief aside, there was a viral video of a crow who was taken into a zoo-like environment that I saw a little while ago. You may have seen this video, where it has to go through an 8-step process of like figuring out puzzles in order to get itself fed, to unlock a little chunk of food for itself. And this bird, only having been sort of brought into observance of this process a couple times previous, and now everything's been rearranged, it just kind of looks at everything, looks at the design of everything, and then it works itself through the entirety of the process to free the food for itself. And that's what we're dealing with here, a very intelligent race of birds, very much like parrots, who can mimic and everything like that, but it's also got a carrier pigeon aesthetic in that, basically the way to find the importance of these creatures, which is the integral sort of balance. Zen has to find a way that he can make these birds useful to the kingdom before he can intervene. Otherwise, he's got to let it to the devices of this Brecker guy. He basically realizes, well, we can use them as a system of communication. And this is only after the fact, Shirayuki herself. Shirayuki being the ultra-compassionate focus of the series, it's perfect and pitch perfect, really, that Kihal first encounters her, and Shirayuki gets to witness the amazing sort of, way with which Kihal can communicate with this bird and, sort of call the bird back after it's gone out flying and exploring whatever it's doing. And we find out more about how these minerals that the birds, sort of zone in on can hear in the ocean and lead the fishermen to. These minerals are polished up, they're, made into bells and whistles effectively to have that, barrier of communication set aside so that the birds can be not, I don't want to say controlled, but used in a beneficial manner rather than just slaughtering them without point, and to see Shirayuki come up with this idea, we can actually use this for something, and Zen puts that into effect. They're going to test it out. See if they can use these birds to send messages back and forth to a, sort of watchtower that's usually 40 minutes on horseback, 40-minute ride on horseback from the kingdom, but it would only take about like 20 minutes, I think they say, if the bird was sent with messages back and forth and such. And, of course, this Brecker guy decides he wants to go. He wants to make sure Shirayuki, being someone who's very closely knit with Zen, is known to be very closely his friend and everything, that there isn't going to be any subterfuge or anything like that. And, but of course, we find out later that Zen has an inkling this guy's probably got something up his sleeve. He's going to probably try to sabotage the affair, and that's exactly what happens. And as he's manhandling and pushing Shirayuki around at this watchtower, I'm just like, kill the mother trucker, I just wanted to choke the son of a... He's pushing her down in a room and, rips the bell off or throws it in the water and all that kind of stuff to just blatantly sabotage, only after, of course, he makes sort of you know, a bridge in that gap, trying to bend Shirayuki to his side, you know, oh, well, I'll give you my favor, you know, in the court and all that kind of stuff, because people have to be eagle-eyeing you and looking at you weirdly, you know, you can't attend balls and everything, which you want to be as close to Zen as you can be, so wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I'll configure that for you if you just say this failed, this whole test and everything. And, you see the resolve and impetuous nature of Shirayuki to a point, but her just balls out courage in the fact that she so believes in this. You know, she's willing to basically open a window and jump out into the water, slashing her arm and or leg. I thought it was her leg at first, but then they show her arm is bandaged later because there's blood in the water and everything after she crashes into this water. She could have killed herself. But that's how strongly she wants to see this succeed. She's not only doing it for the sake of these birds, but for the sake of the kingdom at large. And also, she has that line of dialogue about not wanting, you know, to see Zen sort of stifled and not able to say how he really feels or make decisions based on how he really feels. And of course, if he had just had, you know, the call to do that, none of this would have needed to have been happening, you know. But she's basically just trying to make it easier for Zen to make the right choices, even those that would otherwise be, you know, going against the grain of his position and the laws of the land and everything. And so you see Obi, you know, trying to figure out what's going on when time is running a little thin, and he jumps down into the water. They're trying to find the bell that Brecker threw in the water. And I absolutely love that when this bird starts circling, like he's going to go past the place, but even under the water, which is dialogue Keyhole had already sort of explained to us, they can hear. They have that laser-like precision hearing. And this bird knows where the bell is, and Shirayuki goes and gets it under the water. And they just by minutes manage to prove the worth of these birds for Zen and for the laws of the land to make it official. And of course, some of Brecker's own soldiers, you know, being very much loyal to the kingdom and to Zen and you know, being moved by Shirayuki's efforts and words, you know, proof in the pudding. She's putting it into action. It's not just speaking an idea and falling back, resting back on your laurels. She's actually putting it into motion to try to do something beneficial. And, you know, at least the chief soldier among Brecker's guards is very much moved by that, so he goes to arrest Brecker. And they're holding him there for when, of course, the message has gotten back to Zen and everything. And Zen, Mitsuhide, and Kiki, they come out and, you know, encounter Shirayuki in the whole scenario. And it just gets that much better, because not only is it like a sort of happy ending for the preservation consciousness, you know, aspect of the story, you know, preserving these birds and making their livelihood and the livelihoods of the people of this island tantamount, but then it gets very personally connected to Zen and Shirayuki as well. Because he is so affected by her. You know, very much she had a reaction in one of the previous episodes where she saw him, you know, doing whatever it was he was doing, facing off against Izana or, you know, the Raj guy or whatever it was. And there was this moment where she just sort of, they close in on her face and her eyes go wide and she realizes how she truly feels about Zen. And in this moment, you know, she's afraid he's going to like scold her or whatever, and he just wants to see where she was injured. But as she's smiling in, you know, the sun-dappled room, his eyes go wide. They close in on his face, and he has that same stark realization. And the next thing you know, they have just fallen into each other. He's kissing her, and, you know, it's just, I mean, call me a softie, call me a romantic at heart, but that gave me goosebumps, and I was just like, oh, hell yes. You know, but what I love, too, is, you know, as resounding as that moment was, and that's where we end the episode, there's still the hint to come that Shirayuki is her own person. In the preview for the next episode, this is something she wants. You know, I mean, she wants to be with Zen. She wants to be close to him. But even still, even in the face of getting all of the things she wants, you know, she still hasn't completed her journey. She's not far along enough on that path, on that quest for herself, so that you see dialogue in the preview for the next episode where she's saying, I need some time to think about this. And because it's a very strongly emotional and momentous thing. that will affect changes in their lives that they can't even begin to predict. Especially with the responsibilities within the kingdom, the way it is all set up and everything. And while they are, in my own estimation, destined to be together, they are individuals at the end of the day, and they can only, go so far and affect so much toward the future of their lives. And is this the right time for that? Maybe not. Maybe that's what she wants to take time to consider. And I love that these are very adult sort of ways, at least the ideal. Kind of taking that fantasy, epic, Disney, happily ever after aesthetic, but then it's, embraced on the outset and on the outside with favor for the reality of, relationships and human dynamics and all that kind of stuff. And that's really what I love about this series. I love that there is such a clever marriage and between the fantasy and the reality, if you will, but also the fact that Shirayuki and of herself is just tantamount a female heroine that can be aspired toward, that can be believed in, and can inspire viewers. And I don't know what the popularity of the show is in Japan or the world abroad. I'm sure I'm not the only one who enjoys watching it, but it just befills me with such a level of confidence and hope that female viewers, and hopefully male viewers as well, can be touched by the effect of these characters, by their strengths, by their aspirations, and seeing that you can have courage enough to continue to try to, track down your dreams and everything. And I'm just kind of rambling at this point. Superlatives aplenty is all I can say for this episode. I love that Brecker had his ass handed to him in the end. I love that we saw them kiss. I love that Izana is getting word of what Zen's done, the choices he's made, and he's seemingly happy with Zen's choices, but he also has that concern, well, how far is Zen going to be willing to go to personally protect the things he finds important to himself, i.e. Shirayuki? And hopefully we will see in coming episodes. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 10 of Akagami no Shirayuki-hime, or Snow White with the Red Hair if you've seen it, if you enjoyed it as much as I did. If not, why not? Let me know in the comments below. Love having the conversation with you guys, and we can agree to disagree. It's all fantastic just having the conversation and speculating on what's going to be happening and such like that. So otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.